Oh,
So
you
their
see this
body's
all the
stopping
time.
their
You come
hands.
here and you see this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Body moves nowhere, hands are trying to do it, and it's very difficult to do.
Can we
So,
try and recreate that awesome chip shot in the Ryder Cup? I mean, we can probably...
no, we can't. I'm not going to hold it out again.
Well, you guys are in for a treat today. Obviously, this man needs no introduction. Jon Rahm, you're a magician around the greens, and I really just wanted to kind of get in there with a stock shot. First of all, when you were growing up and you were practicing your short game, how did you practice this part of your game?
I mean, with full transparency, our practice at our golf club was mainly chipping games, in which I don't think we ever practiced the stock shot.
Yeah.
Right? It's a chipping green. It was small, very undulated with some hills around it, and not really a lot of fairway or fringe, maybe about 3 feet. The rest was rough. And that was in a bunker, and that was our chipping green, in which it was more dedicated to flop shots and crazy shots than any bump and runs.
So would you say you were much more of a feel player
100%
growing up,
feel.
and that was the way to develop that part of the game?
100% feel in everything I do. The systems and routines you can develop, but everything else is based on what I feel on my hands and what I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we were to create a drill, for example, to maybe lean on a bit more feel. So let's say you didn't practice a stock shot as often. Would you ever maybe drop 3 balls down, use the same wedge, and develop the kind of feel from there, de-lofting it or adding it, etc.?
I do practice it now. It's just growing up.
Oh.
No, yeah, I mean, it is Spain overall, right? So with the reputation we have, we are not a group to have very rigid, structured practice. It's a little bit more creativity and developing those skills. That's probably why I think a lot of us in Spain have good short game. But eventually, obviously, you do practice this, right? Because you need to.
Well, talk us through the stock shot then, in the kind of simplest way you could break it down.
Okay.
What are the keys for you?
So this is always a tricky question to answer because it's all situation dependent. Depends on where you are, your lie, the greens, the speed, the weather, how much green do you have, how much fairway do you have. In this case, we have 1.5 yards, 2 yards of fairway. That isn't too bad, and then about 30 to 35 feet of green. So a putter is actually a very reliable option for most people, right? You could just start with that and you're most likely going to hit a good shot. Now, if you decide to chip it for whatever reason, in my mind, you almost want to make it feel like a putt as much as possible.
Sure.
Right? So in most of those stock shots where I want to roll it, once I read the break and get an idea of the shot in itself, like I would do, like almost read it like a putt, I try to decide where I want to land it and how much I want it to roll. I'm a very visual person, so I always try to find a spot that is very easy to identify. So if I can see a pitch mark, great. If it's like in this case, there's a bit of change on the color of the green right here. That's always going to be visible, right? Don't make it too difficult on yourself. Plan that, and then from then I'll dictate the trajectory and the club I use.
Okay.
Now, for technique, it'll be very simple. It always for a run, chip and run, square face. My stance will be open just because I'm comfortable that way, and it's easier to move through the shot. So it'd be back foot, square face, hands forward, and then from then on, putting stroke.
Okay. That's a very quiet action, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't feel like you need any hand action. There's no spin that needs to be added.
Okay.
Right, and then the club would be whatever you feel like doing it. In this case, it would probably be, I have a lob wedge, would be a 56. But if I were to do a lob wedge, we'll just try to fly it a little bit further up, right?
And get it releasing like a putt.
Yeah, that was being with the 60 is going to spin a little bit more.
Of course.
So it's, if I were to do it with the 56.
There we go.
Yeah. Try to keep it a little bit low.
Same theory.
Same thing.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit
Reacts
more raw.
differently. Okay,
Yeah,
how about,
exactly.
I know it's a subjective way of reading a lie as well, because that's probably one of the most important things when it comes to short game.
Yeah.
So if we were to move around a little bit, I mean, like the grass is a little bit fluffier here. It's a slightly different slope. So like, how do you read a lie? A lot of it is feel.
I think so much of it is intuitive at this point.
Yeah.
Like I see it and I know. A lot of times when I even watch these tutorials, we do what we feel like we're doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't always translate to what we're actually doing, right? So in this case, it's a little bit into the grain, so that usually means that spin, it's out of the equation, right? There's going to be a little bit of grass that gets between the club head and the ball, so you're not going to be able to spin it. In this case, you don't need to spin it, but it could also be that it comes out a little bit higher, right? It usually nestles down a little bit more, it'll come in a higher trajectory. Again, in this case, because we have so much green and it's uphill, it's almost helping you. At that point, it's up to you to decide. I would probably maybe use a 56. I doubt it. I'd probably go to a 52 in this case, maybe even a pitching wedge, right?
Okay, so you've got the 56 in your hand?
Yeah, 52, yeah.
52?
It would be exactly the same thing. I mean, it's just a little bit uphill. If you're into the grain, sometimes what helps me is try to minimize the bounce exposure to the ground. So I'll try to get a little bit closer so the heel doesn't get caught on the grass. But you don't really always need to worry about that. Just get a little bit closer to the ball, and then it's the same thing. Square face and same theory. And just have it roll out.
Do you have a favorite shot?
Around the greens?
Yeah, I mean, I love the toe down shot because I just love how the club just glides through.
I like to feel the heel, so.
Okay.
Open face, high shots, I'm really comfortable with that.
Should we create a high shot then? Where can we
It is not the high percentage shot, which is the funny part, it's what I like to do. Let's say you get a tucked pin.
That's the flag?
Yeah, missed it. And he rolls out,
okay.
Right? So the ball's sitting down, you have uphill followed by downhill.
Yep.
You can't really roll it, so you need some height.
Yep.
Obviously, you're really close here. And in this case, loft with your friend. So
yes.
It would be 100 times out of 100 is going to be a lob wedge.
Okay.
Right.
Anything different in setup here?
Well, you're in an upslope, so you want to kind of mold to the slope a little bit. I like to try to feel not so much my shoulders, but my hips, kind of my center of gravity with the slope.
And then from a weight distribution thing, it's a lot of feel, isn't it? Just making sure you're balanced and
comfortable.
And
you hear all these percentages.
Yeah.
Again, it's what we feel.
Yeah.
I would say pressure. Like I like to feel pressure on my front foot so you can move through it. But in this case, being on a little bit of rough, the ball's not all the way down, you don't need to. A bit of an upslope, right? You want a shallow angle of attack, so you don't really need to be too far forward on your weight.
Okay.
Now with me, hand action will come in a little bit more, but I try to always keep the club face open, right? So I don't want it to turn over. I might do a little bit more release this way, but you want that club face always looking at you, not turning over.
Yeah.
Not a big swing, so it's not really going to come into play too much. But then open body, open stance, club face open just for height.
Okay.
Right? You could do this with a square shot. A lot of people would. I'm comfortable with an open face, just in general. With the way I swing, there's not a lot of this going on with my hands, so I like an open face. And at that point is whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure.
You could easily do it with a little bit of openness, right?
Oh, nice.
Like that. You could open it more. Right? You could have it fully laid down flat. Right? You're always going to have to hit it harder, but
exactly.
You could, at that point, is whatever you're comfortable with.
Of course.
And I would say we always talk so much about hands in this scenario. While we do feel with our hands, I like to make sure my body and my chest are turning through.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something that's not talked about enough.
Yeah. You definitely must see it in the pro-ams, right? So you're playing with these amateurs.
Oh, you see this all the time. You come here and you see this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Body moves nowhere, hands are trying to do it, and it's very difficult to do.
Can we try and recreate that awesome chip shot in the Ryder Cup? I mean, we can probably...
No, we can't. I'm not going to hold it out again. So.
You're not going to hold it out again, but I would love to kind of tap into your thought process, right? It was an outrageous lie. I mean, ball was significantly more
above my feet
than this.
Yeah.
Which already makes it hard enough. So talk us through, why does it make it so difficult and what did you have to do to adapt
So we always
that?
need to come all the way, almost need to come here because it was in a bit of a downslope. I'm going to put it here. We don't have the rough we had. So I had two things going for me on that shot. And I'm going to say the positives before I say all the other negatives. It was a little bit of a bare patch, but a club length long behind it. So I knew I could get underneath the ball.
Okay.
And I could get decent contact. And the grain was slightly with me around the ball. So I knew if I got the contact, I could predict what was going to happen.
Right.
Now it was a bit more above my feet than this, and it was more of a downslope, way more severe rough around the greens, and I had a maybe 3 foot upslope and then flat and down. So I had basically 3 feet to land it on to hope I would keep it on the green.
Did you set any sort of expectation prior to hitting that shot? I mean, almost like, you know, John, if I hit it to 12 feet, this is a great shot. I mean, holding it was like a unlikely percentage.
So luckily, Xander and Kenley had missed the green as well. even though it was a much easier chip, it was most likely going to be a par. Them making it wasn't my biggest concern at the moment, right?
Sure.
So I was hoping to just leave Tyrrell some kind of an uphill par putt.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're planning to hold it, but ideally I was going to leave him just past the pin a little bit to the right. So if I had broken with the break of the green, it was left to right break. Leaving him, yeah, if I could leave him 10 feet with a little bit of right to left, that would have been, in my mind, almost the perfect shot. So this would be to explain, if they ever tell you why when the ball's above your feet, you're in further right, ball's below your feet, you're in further left, is when the ball's above your feet like this, the second your hands start to drop, right?
Yeah.
That club head is now aiming at the flagstick instead of up the tee, right? If I open the face a little bit to counteract that, but at that point is not enough, so I need to aim myself to the right. So the hardest thing there was with the short pin on the edge of the green, I had to aim almost to the right edge of the green and hope to dear God that it would come out left.
Once again, a lot of that is feel as well, isn't it?
But that's why I said I got lucky. I actually had a gap.
Yeah.
I knew that I could get clean contact. That ball was going to go left.
And so with that getting de-lofted, with the amount of severity of the ball above your feet, you had to have the most loft?
Yeah, so
That was
I had a
60
60-degree wedge. I couldn't fully open it because if I did, I would skull it. I would probably maybe even hit a shank. So the way I was trying to get a bit more of an aggressive contact was by getting my hands a little bit lower and adding more loft, right? So therefore I had to aim further right. And then after that, I can tell you is full instinct. I do not remember what I did. I have no idea. Next thing I remember is seeing the ball land on the perfect spot and track towards the hole.
That's awesome, isn't it?
So I have no recollection of what my body did.
Were you partially deaf by the end of that day?
No. No, but that was, I mean, I would be, if the tee is there, I'm basically aiming like this.
Yeah.
And because it's so far above my feet, I'm almost going more out to in.
Okay.
In almost like an axe motion.
Yeah.
Right?
So
It's
a lot of
opposite
manipulation.
it's opposite to everything I've said. It was all entirely hands.
Yeah.
Right? But that's one of the specialty shots. It's just hard to teach. So in that moment, I'm just trying to feel it. Something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
See, in this case, being different grass, I had a decent contact, right? So it was similar to that, a little lower with spin. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that's money. That's awesome. I think that's the one to end on, John. That was awesome insights. Thank you so much. And hopefully everyone back at home can take a couple of tips or two. But other than that, have a great season and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Wicked.
Love that.
That shot, if you see any of the vice captains, you need to have one of them tell you through Jose's emotion on that hole.